Jung Hae-seong doesn't expect things to spiral like this. It all starts during a mission where a Korean smuggler is set to trade a golden statue with a Chinese buyer. Hae-seong watches it all go down from his hideout, waiting for the right moment. The second he spots the statue, he makes his move. He also has backup as one of his teammates is undercover, blending in with the smuggler's crew. But chaos breaks loose as the Korean smuggler grabs the statue and bolts. Hae-seong goes after him, first sprinting through the streets, then switching to a bike. He is told to wait for backup, but he ignores the call. Instead, he jumps straight onto the fleeing car. The chase ends with the car flipping and exploding. Still, Hae-seong walks away with both the smuggler and the statue. The team unwraps the statue at the National Intelligence Service, only to realize it is damaged as the arm is gone. Turns out, one of Hae-seong's bullets ricochets and shatters it. Team leader An Seok-ho has to deliver the bad news to Director Kim. The director is furious and wants Hae-seong fired on the spot. But Seok-ho defends him, saying they can't afford to lose someone that's skilled. He asks the director for another way to fix things, and the director hands him a new case file. That night, the team gathers for drinks, weighed down by the day's events. Seok-ho tells them the truth, that Hae-seong can stay, but only if he takes on the next assignment. It leads them to Byongmun High School. During Japan's occupation, the school's founder, Seo Byong-mun, received a huge stash of gold bars from an emperor. The gold is meant to support Korea's independence. Instead, Byong-mun keeps it for himself. After liberation, he vanishes, along with most of the treasure. Rumor has it what's left of that gold is still hidden somewhere inside the school. The National Intelligence Service just got a hot lead. The gold bars at Byongmun High School might be moved out soon. They already searched the Byongmun Foundation, but skip over the school itself. Now there's only one move left: send someone undercover. That someone is Jung Hae-seong. Of course, he isn't exactly thrilled about pretending to be a high school student again, but there's no way around it. Meanwhile, the teachers at Byongmun are out celebrating Vice Principal Bayek's birthday at a karaoke bar. In an attempt to keep him happy, teacher Oh Soo-ah downs a massive tumbler of soju. She gets completely wasted and in a wild moment pulls off Bayek's wig in front of everyone. Back at a quiet diner, Hae-seong is deep in thought. He knows the team's future hinges on his decision. As his teammates head out, Soo-ah walks in. Turns out the diner belongs to her mom. Not long after, a group of guys barges in and starts causing trouble, harassing both the owner and Soo-ah when she tries to defend her mom. Hae-seong steps in and shuts it down without breaking a sweat, earning some serious respect from both women. Later that night, he heads home, lost in thought. A flashback shows him in high school, getting beaten by bullies who mock him for being an orphan, and that memory pushes him to call Seok-ho, saying he is in, and the team gets to work. Hae-seong is briefed on the school and its complicated student hierarchy. They build his fake identity, teach him the slang, and prep him to blend in. Before heading out, Hae-seong joins Seok-ho, his wife and daughter for dinner. We find out that Seok-ho and his wife take him in after his dad passes. Now, Hae-seong is about to attend the same school as Seok-ho's daughter, Yoo-jung. The next morning, Hae-seong suits up in his school uniform and walks into Byongmun High. Soo-ah spots him right away and quickly realizes he's the same guy from her mom's diner. She calls him out, but he talks his way out of trouble like a pro. Later in class, a student named Yena tells Yoo-jung she wants her to join her on the school's exchange trip to France. Soo-ah walks into class and has the new kid, Hae-seong, introduce himself. He plays it cool, then takes a seat next to a quiet student named Lee Dong-min. Across the room, Yoo-jung recognizes him and quickly texts him to meet her on the school roof after class. Up there, she makes him promise not to say a word to her parents about how she is really doing at school. Clearly, she is hiding something. Later, while exploring the school grounds, Hae-seong notices a rusty old gate with a keep-out sign. Naturally, he ignores it. Inside, the building is locked, but he finds something odd. Behind one of the walls are electricity meters, and they're running high, suspicious. But before he can investigate further, he hears Dong-min getting picked on by a bunch of school bullies. He starts to walk away, but a sudden noise gives him away. The bullies spot him and force him to run errands for them. Just as he is about to fight back, he imagines Seok-ho reminding him to stay undercover. He grits his teeth and holds back. Over in the staff room, Soo-ah is gossiping about the new student. She tells the other teachers that if she catches Hae-seong misbehaving, she won't go easy on him. After school, Hae-seong asks Dong-min about that mysterious building. Dong-min says it's the old facility, left over from the Japanese colonial era, supposedly abandoned, but something doesn't feel right. Elsewhere, we meet Seo Myung-ju, a powerful figure and chairwoman of the Byongmun Foundation. She attends the funeral of a man who takes his own life, comforting his grieving wife and vowing to look after their son. But there's more to the story. An assemblyman later points out that Myungju and the deceased man are bitter rivals, leaving us to wonder if this really is just a tragic accident. Later that night, Hae-seong sits with Seok-ho and shares his suspicions. The electricity usage in that so-called abandoned building? Way too high. He's convinced the gold could be hidden inside. So he makes his move. Under the cover of darkness, he sneaks back onto campus, resets the school's security cameras with a special device, and picks the lock to the old building. He steps inside. Inside the creepy old building, Hae-seong's search is cut short, as he has been caught, and a shadowy figure aims a weapon at him. The person turns out to be Sua, armed with a tear gas gun, and she is there because she is on night patrol. After a brief scuffle, he manages to deflect her and escapes before she gets a clear look. On their way home, both of them tell very different versions of the same story. Hae-seong reports the incident to Seok-ho, while Sua vents to her mom about letting the intruder get away. As they both arrive home, we find out something hilarious. They live right next door to each other. Talk about awkward. At school, the three resident bullies, led by Park Tae-soo, give Hae-seong a ridiculous task to beat a hard level on a mobile video game. Just another test. Yoo-jung meets him on the roof and gives him a heads up. Tae-soo isn't someone you want to mess with. Meanwhile, in the staff room, Sua gets stuck doing menial chores as punishment from Vice Principal Baek for letting the mysterious trespasser slip through her fingers. At the same time, Seo Myungju is informed of the break-in. Principal Park Jae-moon tells her the intruder uses a jammer to block CCTV signals. Instead of locking things down, she gives a cold, calculated order to let the intruder come back as she wants to see what he's after. Back in the teacher's lounge, Sua's co-worker Min-ji shares creepy rumors about the old building, especially a ballet studio in the basement. Their ghost story session ends abruptly when Sua spills her drink on the vice principal again. His patience must be officially running thin. In class, Sua notices that Dongmin is missing. Tae-soo casually says he's sick, but Hae-seong knows better. He later sees Principal Jae-moon sneak into the old building and tries to follow, but a security guard stops him, ranting about how much the higher-ups protect that place. Suspicious, Hae-seong updates his team. Then he hears something, a muffled noise from a nearby trash bin. He opens the lid and finds Dongmin, tied up and terrified. Hae-seong helps him out, but Dongmin pleads with him not to tell the teachers. If the bullies find out, it'll only get worse. Just then, Sua appears and calls Hae-seong into her office. She accuses him of bullying Dongmin. Then, things get tense. She stares into his eyes and suddenly freezes. It hits her. His eyes look just like the intruder's. She tries to get a closer look, but Hae-seong smoothly dodges her, causing her to fall. Meanwhile, at the NIS office, the team catches a news report announcing Seo Myungju's new Edu City project, a massive plan with an 800 million price tag, conveniently matching the value of the missing gold bars. Over at the student council meeting, Yoo-jung finally tries to confront Tae-soo after he boasts about tying up Dongmin. He smugly reminds her that she was a nobody, until Yena, Myungju's daughter, chose to be her friend. But Yena unexpectedly sides with Yoo-jung, threatening Tae-soo's father's political career, since Myungju has the power to decide his future as an assemblyman, unless Tae-soo apologizes. Still, she later warns Yoo-jung not to speak out like that again, telling her to leave things to her instead. Elsewhere, Seo Myungju orders Principal Park Jae-moon to create a new elite class with even more perks than before. When he mentions growing concerns about unfair treatment toward the top 10%, she coldly suggests adding more divisions to deepen the student hierarchy and spark internal conflict. During lunch, Hae-seong joins Dongmin, who starts sharing creepy stories about the school's old building. He talks about a ballet student who was relentlessly bullied until, one day, while fleeing from her tormentors, she had an accident that cost her both legs. Unable to dance again, she later hanged herself. The bullies hid her body, and now, her ghost supposedly haunts the basement. Dongmin even claims he has seen the ghost. He shows Hae-seong a video from the ballet studio, where a shadowy figure appears. In the video, Hae-seong notices a digital lock on one of the doors. Before Dongmin can dive into another tale, Tae-soo and his goons show up and start harassing him again. This time, Hae-seong snaps. He stands up to Tae-soo, and when a fight breaks out, Hae-seong comes out on top. Sua interrupts and hauls both of them to the counseling office. The vice principal drags Tae-soo out, leaving Sua alone with Hae-seong. He bluntly asks if she's just pretending not to notice Tae-soo's behavior, or if she's really that naive. He challenges her, asking if she even cares about her students, and his words hit hard. Later that night, Sua is seen drinking at her mother's diner again, clearly shaken. Meanwhile, at the NIS office, Seok Ho is telling the team how much faith he has in Hae Seong when Director Kim walks in, holding a video of Hae Seong punching Tae-soo. Elsewhere, Tae-soo meets with an older man who demands repayment. With no money to offer, Tae-soo is told to bring ID cards instead. Back with the NIS, Hae Seong and Seok Ho face Director Kim, who scolds them both. He makes a pointed remark about Hae Seong following in his father's NIS footsteps and warns him not to bring shame to the name. A flashback shows young Hae Seong with his dad, watching him head out on a mission the night before his birthday. Later, Tae-soo shows up at Dongmin's house and tricks his grandmother into handing over her ID. At that same moment, Dongmin, out on a food delivery run, spots Hae Seong sneaking into the school. Curious, he follows him, thinking he's ghost hunting. Despite Hae Seong's protests, Dongmin goes inside. They hear strange noises from the ballet studio and spot a man in a hat hammering floorboards. He senses he's being watched and quickly escapes. Hae Seong approaches the locked door and uses a device Seok Ho gave him to unlock it. Inside, he discovers a room filled with documents, photos, and investigation notes pinned across the wall. He calls Seok Ho and tells him it looks like Seo Myung-ju is also chasing the gold bars. Meanwhile, Dong-min pries up the floorboard the mystery man had been working on and finds a corpse hidden underneath. Across town, Seo Myung-ju watches Hae Seong in her room via a hidden camera feed. Coincidence? Not likely. After discovering a body under the ballet studio, Hae Seong quickly realizes it's not real. It's a plastic dummy. However, he finds a key hidden inside one of the ballet shoes. Before he and Dong-min can leave, Principal Park catches them snooping. Hae Seong smoothly covers by claiming they are just curious students chasing the school's ghost stories. Later, Hae Seong reports to his undercover team. The seal on the key matches one used by Seo Byung-moon, leading the team to believe the ghost stories are elaborate riddles tied to the location of the hidden gold bars. With 4 ghost stories circulating at the school, Hae Seong decides to investigate each one to find more clues. Meanwhile, Principal Park informs Chairwoman Seo Myung-ju about the incident. She comes to the same conclusion as Hae Seong, suspecting the ghost stories are part of a larger treasure hunt connected to Seo Byung-moon. At school, Hae Seong asks Dong-min to share the second ghost story. It's about a grandfather clock donated by Seo Byung-moon. The story warns that if you're alone and hear it chime, crimson eyes will come for you. Elsewhere, Sua receives a worrying call from Dongmin's grandmother, who claims her ID has been taken by a student named Jung Hae Seong. Sua, already suspicious, confronts Hae Seong and summons him to the counseling office. But Hae Seong dodges the meeting, texting her an excuse. Instead, he investigates the school security guard and correctly accuses him of being the figure seen at the ballet studio. The guard confesses that he discovered a secret entrance while feeding a stray cat, stumbles upon the dummy, and accidentally drops his phone. He returns later with a hammer to cover up the damage. Meanwhile, Hae Seong learns that his team is operating a sandwich shop near campus as their undercover base. Back at school, Sua witnesses another confrontation. Dong-min bravely demands his grandmother's ID back from Tae-soo. Tae-soo returns it but cruelly steps on Dong-min's hand as he picks it up, escalating the tension and highlighting Dong-min's growing courage. Just as Tae-soo crushes Dong-min's hand and walks away, Sua arrives and catches him red-handed. She sternly tells him to report to the counseling office, but Tae-soo mocks her authority, calling her a mere temp and telling her to look the other way. After he leaves, even Dong-min downplays the incident, nervously telling Sua not to worry and that it is just a joke, revealing how much fear Tae-soo still holds over them. Later, while walking along the road, Hae Seong notices an old woman struggling to pick up her scattered belongings. As Yena impatiently honks at her from her car, Hae Seong steps in to help. Yena watches silently as he escorts the elderly woman home, who turns out to be Dongmin's grandmother. She is delighted to meet Dongmin's friend, and sweetly gives Hae Seong some money for snacks. Dongmin later explains the situation with the stolen ID card and apologizes for not being brave enough to tell Sua the truth. Hae Seong assures him, and even gives Dongmin his phone number for emergencies. Meanwhile, Sua confides in her coworker Rian about Tae-soo. But with his father being a high-profile assemblyman, Rian urges her to let it go, for her job security. Later that day, Hae Seong and Sua bump into each other at a convenience store. They both reach for the same drink, sparking some awkward tension. Sua admits she knows the truth about Tae-soo now, and apologizes for misjudging Hae Seong. He shares one of the bills Dongmin's grandmother gives him, and asks Sua to be a good friend to Dongmin. She notices Hae-seong picking the peas out of his food, triggering a memory of a boy from her childhood who does the same, a subtle clue connecting their pasts. Suddenly, trouble hits Dongmin's home when the police show up and arrest his grandmother, accusing her of being involved in a gambling website. In distress, Dongmin calls Hae-seong, who rushes over with Sua. Hae-seong quickly connects the dots and realizes this is Tae-soo's revenge. He tells Sua it's time for her to stop turning a blind eye. She needs to take a stand. The next day, a bombshell post appears on the school's online discussion board. It accuses Tae-soo of bullying Dongmin and even implicates his grandmother in illegal gambling activities. The post sends shockwaves through the campus, sparking rumors and heated conversations among the students. The vice principal immediately tasks Sua with contacting both boys' parents for a formal meeting with chairwoman Seo Myung-ju. Surprisingly, we soon learn that the person who uploaded the post is Sua herself. That night, Hae-seong sneaks into the school and tries to open the grandfather clock using the mysterious key he found earlier. But before he can make progress, chairwoman Seo Myung-ju appears and introduces herself. Her words are cryptic, yet curious. She hints at knowing more than she lets on and tells Hae-seong to come to her if he ever needs help. Meanwhile, Dongmin promises his jailed grandmother that he will clear her name. But when he returns home, he finds Tae-soo calmly waiting outside. The next day, during the scheduled school meeting, Tae-soo and Dongmin face chairwoman Seo, but Dongmin stuns everyone by claiming the post is fake and that Hae-seong is the real troublemaker. A flashback reveals the truth that Tae-soo threatens Dongmin with a knife, warning him to lie, or else something bad will happen to his grandmother. Yoo-jung and the others hear about the incident. Yoo-jung expresses concern over Hae-seong, which Yena silently notices. Later, Hae-seong confronts Dongmin about what happened and asks if Tae-soo coerced him. Dongmin finally breaks down and admits the truth. Tae-soo blackmails him, and he can't see a way out. Hae-seong reassures him, telling him that none of this is his fault. Later, Hae-seong contacts Young-hoon and tasks him with digging up dirt on Park Tae-soo. Young-hoon discovers that Tae-soo hands over Dongmin's grandmother's ID to the owner of the gambling website. Determined to fight back, Hae-seong gears up for the school's upcoming anti-bullying committee session. On the day of the hearing, the vice principal is moments away from expelling Hae-seong for being late, until he dramatically bursts in, riding his bike and towing the gambling website owner behind him. Shocked gasps ripple through the room. Meanwhile, at the sandwich shop, Seok-ho and Mi-jung realize that Young-hoon is actively helping Hae-seong behind the scenes. This triggers a flashback, showing young Hae-seong, then known as Si-hyun, enduring harsh bullying for being an orphan. Despite the cruelty, he refuses to apologize for things he didn't do, even when pressured by other parents. Seeing the trauma unfold, Seok-ho, acting as his guardian, tells him he doesn't have to return to school. He can learn from home instead. Hae-seong tracks down Gu Sang-tae, the man behind the gambling operation. A fierce confrontation ensues, and Hae-seong easily takes down Sang-tae's bodyguards and knocks the man out cold. Just in time, Young-hoon, Seok-ho, and Mi-jung arrive. Seok-ho scolds Hae-seong for handling the situation alone, reminding him that they're a team, and he doesn't have to bear the weight of everything by himself. With Sang-tae in tow, they head to the school's anti-bullying committee meeting. There, Sang-tae confesses everything. Tae-soo is a VIP client who's been giving him ID cards as payment for his gambling debts. Hae-seong presents a full list of Tae-soo's wrongdoings. This time, Dongmin finally speaks up and confirms everything. To seal the deal, Hae-seong hands over a flash drive containing CCTV footage linking Tae-soo directly to Sang-tae. Chairwoman Seo Myung-ju informs Tae-soo's influential father that she has no choice but to expel his son due to his criminal involvement. When Tae-soo's father tries to threaten her, she doesn't flinch. Instead, she gives the signal, and Principal Park jumps in and beats the man up. Later, Seo tells Park that they should accelerate their search for the hidden gold bars, an ongoing mystery within the school. Sometime after, Sua meets Hae-seong and confirms that Tae-soo has officially been expelled. He thanks her for standing up and uploading the post that started everything. As he gently picks a flower petal from her hair, Sua begins to feel flustered, her feelings for him starting to bloom. From here, the show shifts to the second ghost story. A brilliant but troubled student always places second behind her best friend in school rankings. Consumed by jealousy, she pushes her friend off the school roof. Later, while studying alone in the classroom, she hears the school clock chime, then sees the ghost of her dead friend, now with glowing red eyes, haunting her. Dongmin shares this chilling tale with Hae-seong, revealing that there are 4 ghost stories in total, but no one seems to know what the fourth one is. They eat together at the sandwich shop, where Haeseong playfully pretends to be just a part-time worker, keeping his identity low-key. Elsewhere, Yena and Yoojung go shopping together. Yoojung, carrying all of Yena's bags, slowly begins to realize that Yena has a crush on Haeseong. While Oh-sua can't stop thinking about her fluttering heart, she also begins to recall a buried memory of a boy from her childhood. She is startled awake while dozing off at her desk, and the vice principal catches her. As a result, Sua is unexpectedly assigned as the advisory teacher for the student council. Meanwhile, Haeseong keeps trying to open the mysterious grandfather clock, but it still won't budge. Just then, Yoojung puts up a student council recruitment poster nearby. As Haeseong helps her tape pictures to the wall, he notices something surprising. There's an identical grandfather clock in the student council room. Watching them from afar, Yena grows suspicious of Yoojung's closeness to Haeseong. Later, Haeseong tries to enter the council room, but Yena stops him and cheekily suggests that he should become a student council member. She hands him a pricey gift, but he scolds her for wasting money and tells her she should be spending it on workbooks instead. Curious, Haeseong approaches Sua and asks her about the requirements to join the council. She tells him bluntly that he needs to rank 10th or above in exams, gather 100 reference signatures, and get approval from the student council president, Yena. Haeseong soon notices that Dongmin has surprisingly become friends with Tae-soo's former lackeys. They claim to have apologized to Dongmin and even let him hit them with a bat for payback. The duo now helps Haeseong try to collect signatures, but their plan flops. To make matters worse, Haeseong's grades are too low, and the midterm exams are just around the corner. But one day, he walks into school and is stunned to see his teammates holding free food stalls and dance performances, all to help him gather 100 signatures. Inside the student council room, Yena is delighted by Haeseong's possible membership. However, another council member calls him a traitor for driving Tae-soo out. Yena is even more surprised when Yoojung firmly opposes Haeseong joining. Yoojung later confronts him on the rooftop and warns him to stay away from the council. When he refuses, she even threatens to reveal his true identity. Though Haeseong tries to speak to her later, she completely ignores him. Elsewhere, Myungju tells Principal Park to watch both Haeseong and the clocks closely. Yena interrupts their conversation, and once Park leaves, Myungju gives Yena ADHD medication to improve her focus. She firmly reminds Yena that she must rank first if she wants to be remembered. The next day, Haeseong is mistakenly summoned for a one-day military training, since no one knows about his undercover mission. He calls Sua and lies, saying he's sick and needs time off. That night, Sua, ever caring, shows up at the address he gives. But the problem is, it's a completely empty apartment that hasn't been set up yet. Seok-ho and the rest of the team rush over and frantically borrow furniture and items from neighbors to make it look lived in. Sua arrives with porridge, but Haeseong accidentally spills it on her. While she's in the bathroom cleaning up, the team hides in the closet. As she's about to leave, she trips, causing both her and Haeseong to fall into an accidental kiss. At the same moment, Young-hoon is on the verge of sneezing inside the cramped closet. In a panic, Mi-jung kisses him to stop him, but that just makes Young-hoon swoon and fall out, blowing the team's cover in front of a stunned Sua. Later, Sua goes through an old photo album and finds a picture of her childhood self, back when she was known as Bongja, and a boy from school. The boy is none other than Si-hyun, Haeseong's real identity. She remembers a moment when she sweetly tells him to eat his peas. As the midterm exams approach, Seok-ho, Mi-jung, and Young-hoon are all anxiously praying for Haeseong to pass. A flashback takes us back to the chaotic moment when Sua saw all three of them tumble out of Haeseong's cupboard. Thinking fast, the team claims to be colleagues from his part-time job, there to surprise him. When Sua remains skeptical, Haeseong dramatically pretends to faint, prompting the team to rush him to the hospital to maintain the ruse. In the present day, Haeseong finally finishes his exam. Elsewhere, Young-hoon is still floating on cloud 9 from the kiss Mi-jung gives him in the closet. He even confesses how he feels, but Mi-jung is clearly uncomfortable and brushes it off. Later, the two join Seok-ho and Haeseong for dinner. As they eat, Seok-ho voices concern that Sua might still be suspicious, while Haeseong can't stop replaying the accidental kiss in his mind. And he's right to worry. Sua hasn't let go of her suspicions. On her way out of his building earlier, she notices a phone number on a car, which she recognizes as Haeseong's. She later confides in her colleague Ryeon while drinking, unaware that her mother overhears the conversation. That night, a drunken Sua stumbles into Haeseong's house by mistake. Desperate to avoid being recognized, Haeseong tries to imitate a woman's voice over the intercom. Thankfully, Sua's mother finds her and takes her home, right next door. Haishang is stunned to discover that they are actually neighbors. The following day, midterm results are released. Against all odds, Haishang ranks 10th, just enough to qualify for the student council. But he's not the only one who surprises everyone. Yujung ranks first, knocking Yena out of the top spot for the first time. Yena puts on a brave face, pretending it doesn't bother her, but inside, jealousy is brewing. Meanwhile, a powerful meeting takes place between chairwoman Myungju and chief editor Yoon of the Seojin Daily. Myungju offers him a shady deal to publish a glowing piece about her global privatized school ambitions in exchange for anything he wants, but editor Yoon refuses the thinly veiled bribe and walks out, unimpressed. As Myungju heads back, Principal Park informs her that Yena's academic rank has dropped. Yena soon receives a text from Myungju summoning her to the office. With the pressure mounting, Yena looks deeply anxious as she makes her way to face the chairwoman. Following his top 10 exam result, Haishang informs his team that he's officially submitted his application for the student council. However, there are 2 other candidates, meaning his spot isn't guaranteed. To increase his odds, Haeseong awkwardly tries to charm Yena with outdated old-school manners. Fortunately, despite the cringy effort, he gets accepted into the student council. Meanwhile, Sua keeps digging. She calls the number listed for Haeseong's supposed former school, but it redirects to his undercover team, who quickly cover for him. Later, Haeseong walks into the staff room to ask about the student council room key, only to spot Sua looking through his file. Realizing the risk, Seok-ho later warns him to avoid Sua at all costs. Adding to his troubles, Haeseong tries to apologize to Yujung, who's still upset and refuses to talk to him. Unfortunately, Yena sees the 2 of them together, fueling her suspicions. At his first student council meeting, Haeseong stays behind to examine the mysterious grandfather clock. But his investigation is cut short by Yena and Yujung, who ask him to join them for dinner. The outing, however, takes an unpleasant turn. At the restaurant, Yena openly orders Yujung around, treating her like a servant. Unable to tolerate it, Haishang confronts Yena, tells her to stop, and even pays the bill to end the dinner early. Once Yena leaves, Yujung tearfully explains that this power imbalance is exactly why she doesn't want Haishang on the council and begs him not to interfere. Back at home, Yena reports to her mother, who is the one who tells her to allow Haishang on the council in the first place, revealing there's a deeper plan at play. That night, Haishang sneaks back into school to inspect the grandfather clock alone. He uses his new key and opens it, but finds nothing inside. As he stands there puzzled, a note suddenly slides under the door. It reads, "Hello, Agent Jung Haishang." Rattled, Haishang and Seok-ho bring the note to Director Kim, who sternly orders them to track the source immediately. He then tells his secretary to run a check on all staff members at the school. Later, Seok-ho reminds Haeseong to stay cautious during this mission, implying that someone at the school is on to him. The next day, Director Kim reviews the school's employee files and comes across something shocking. But we are left in suspense, not yet shown what he discovers. Haeseong investigates the mysterious note and discovers that the CCTV footage around the council room is deleted due to a supposed server reboot. In reality, Principal Park erases the footage under Chairwoman Myungju's orders, but neither of them knows who slips the note to Haeseong or what their motive is. Elsewhere, Sua continues her investigation while working overtime thanks to Vice Principal Baek. Her colleague, Jun-ho, lends a hand with the reports. During their work, Sua stumbles upon a book listing the 2003 student council members, a small detail that soon becomes very important. Back at home, Haeseong receives a call from an unknown number. It's from the school's security guard, the same man Haeseong had previously caught sneaking around the basement. The guard cryptically tells Haeseong to meet him on the rooftop. As Haeseong makes his way back to school, the grandfather clock chimes unexpectedly, triggering a memory of Dongmin's eerie warning, "Crimson eyes will come for you." Just as he's about to enter the building, something falls from the rooftop. It's the security guard, now dead, and his eyes are glowing red. In his hand is a black notebook with stars, the same one that young Haeseong once gave his father as a child, confirmed through a flashback. In a quiet, more emotional turn, Si-hyun and his father meet Bongja and share a warm meal. At the same time, the final reveal shows us what stuns Sua in the student council book, a photo of Si-hyun's father with the 2003 student council members, confirming a deep connection between the past and Hyeseong's current mission. On the school rooftop, the security guard waits with Hyeseong's childhood notebook. But before Hyeseong arrives, a masked man confronts him and tries to steal the notebook. During the struggle, the guard falls off the roof, just moments before Hyeseong arrives, discovering both the body and the notebook. He chases the masked man to the rooftop, and the two engage in a brief fight. When a sound distracts Hyeseong, the masked figure escapes. Later, we see that the man behind the mask is none other than Principal Park, who gets into a car with Myung-ju, confirming their involvement. Furious, Hyeseong storms into Director Kim's office, demanding answers about the notebook. Kim reveals that Jung Jae-hyun, Hyeseong's father, was on the same mission years ago. Seok-ho steps in just in time to stop Hyeseong from lashing out at Kim. Devastated, Hyeseong learns that the NIS has known all along what happened to his father. Feeling betrayed, he asks for time off and withdraws from school. At home, he pores over his father's notebook, filled with the same disturbing horror stories he's been investigating. Meanwhile, news of security guard Kim Hyun-ho's death spreads across the school. It's ruled a suicide, with a death note found in his office. But we know the truth is more sinister. During the next student council meeting, Yeona corners Yoo-jung, asking if she has feelings for Hyeseong. Yoo-jung denies it, prompting Yeona to declare her interest in him instead. Back at the NIS, Director Kim's subordinate asks whether Seok-ho knows about Jae-hyun's past case. Kim responds vaguely, suggesting Seok-ho has secrets of his own. At the same time, Seok-ho stares at an old photograph of him, Jae-hyun, and Director Kim, hinting at a deeper history. Eventually, Hyeseong returns to his team, recommitting to the mission. He tells the school he is away on personal matters, but Sua remains suspicious and even more irritated than usual. After class, Hyeseong returns to the grandfather clock. Guided by his father's notes, he solves the coded horror story involving an upside-down corpse. Interpreting it correctly, he sets the clock's hands to 6:30, the reverse of midnight, the time it always chimes. The clock responds by playing a strange tune, which he records on his phone. Sue walks into the student council room and confronts Hyeseong, accusing him of knowing what really happens to security guard Kim Hyun-ho. A flashback reveals she is secretly present when Hyeseong discovers the body, even witnessing him pull a gun on the masked man. Back in the present, Sua calls out Hyeseong, declaring that she knows he's not really a student. With no more lies to hide behind, Hyeseong comes clean, revealing he is an undercover NIS agent. He lays down the law, either cooperating or facing legal consequences for leaking intel, and he gives her 24 hours to decide. Later, Hyeseong and his team analyze the music he records from the grandfather clock, discovering it's the school anthem, written by Seo Byung-moon. According to another horror story, a piano that plays by itself might be the next key. However, they're furious when Hyeseong tells his team about threatening Sua. Seok-ho scolds him and orders him to apologize immediately. That evening, Hyeseong waits outside Sua's mother's diner. He humbles himself and apologizes sincerely, pleading with her to keep the secret. He also promises compensation. Sua momentarily imagines a grand reward, a presidential citation, and a full-time school job. Snapping back to reality, she agrees to help with the mission. As they walk home, Hyeseong reveals that Yoo-jung is his little sister, not a romantic interest. Then, in a moment of vulnerability, he holds Sua's hand, promising to protect her, leaving her visibly flustered. Meanwhile, Myung-ju meets with a shadowy figure, clearly someone with power, who disapproves of how she handles Kim Hyun-ho's death. A flashback shows Myung-ju confronting Hyun-ho with proof that he is a former NIS agent. Hyun-ho tells her he plans to give Hyeseong the notebook that belongs to his father, Jung Jae-hyun, and accuses her of being linked to a mole inside the NIS hunting for the gold. In the present, Myung-ju reports to that very NIS mole, who warns her to prevent any more murders. She defends herself, saying he would be exposed if Hyun-ho speaks to Hyeseong. Hyeseong investigates the haunted piano, tied to a tragic tale of a young girl who used to play alongside the piano club president and became pregnant. After he shuns her, she takes her own life. Ever since, the piano supposedly plays by itself. As Hyeseong reads the story, Sua suddenly screams, startling him as she is reading over his shoulder. She recalls a grand piano in the chairwoman's office, but access is restricted to a special school event, Night for Byungmunites. Unfortunately, Hyeseong can't attend as he has racked up 20 demerit points for skipping school. When Sua suggests he might be older than her, he offends her by scoffing at the idea. Later that night, Sua shows up at the NIS team's hidden HQ, the sandwich shop, with a solution. Hae-seong can earn merit points by entering a Face of Byungmun High contest, which would wipe out his demerits. The two head to the contest, where Hae-seong is initially awkward and stiff, clearly uncomfortable in front of the camera. With Sua's coaching, though, he turns it around and nails his photo shoot. Next up is Yena, who throws a fit when asked to roll up her sleeve. Yoo-jung steps in, covering for her and escorting her out. A flashback reveals that Yoo-jung previously saw self-harm scars on Yena's wrist. Though Yoo-jung tries to help, Yena lashes out at her. When Yena insults Yoo-jung, Hae-seong steps in to defend her. Yena, misreading the situation, assumes they're a couple and runs off in tears. Yoo-jung, however, is furious, as she doesn't want Hae-seong meddling in her personal relationships. Later, Sua gently advises Hae-seong to give Yoo-jung space and let her come to him if she wants help. She also says something that jogs a buried memory in Hae-seong, as it reminds him of his childhood friend, Bong-ja. Just then, as they leave the diner, Sua's mother calls her Bong-ja, and Hae-seong realizes the truth. Sua is Bong-ja, the friend he'd long forgotten. Fueled by this revelation and armed with his father's notebook, Hae-seong ventures into the old school building's basement. The walls are covered in his father's investigation notes. This, he realizes, was once his father Jung Jae-hyun's hideout. Determined, he tells his father that he will find him soon. As Hae-seong and Sua leave the diner, her mother casually calls her Bong-ja, her old name from childhood. The name hits Hae-seong like a bolt. He stops, stunned, as the realization dawns that Sua is Bong-ja, the childhood friend he once promised to marry. But Sua misinterprets his expression, thinking he's laughing at her name, and she storms off, humiliated. Later that night, at home, Hae-seong finds an old photo of himself with little Bong-ja. A brief flashback plays, a young Sua proposing marriage, her face earnest and adorable. It adds emotional weight to the bond they unknowingly rekindle. Elsewhere, Yena is confronted by her mother over the scars on her wrist. In a chilling moment, Myungju cuts her own arm to demonstrate her twisted message. None of this matters. Image is everything, and they must become the face of the school, no matter what. The next morning, Hae-seong walks in on Sua, dancing in the staff room while cleaning, music in her ears, completely unguarded. She's mortified when she sees him, but explains she's trying to earn extra points toward becoming a full-time teacher. Rather than mocking her, Hae-seong praises her dedication, which flusters her. Later, Sua brings up Hae-seong's kind words to Rion, wondering if it means he likes her. Rion, with a dose of reality, says he's probably just being nice. Soon after, the teachers are asked to select a new face of Byungmun High. When the vice principal favors another student, Sua advocates for a proper vote, hoping to give Hae-seong a fair shot. In the confusion, she accidentally marks the wrong student's name. Despite the mix-up, Hae-seong ends up winning the contest, securing the merit points he needs. As he celebrates, he sees Yoo-jung and takes the chance to speak to her. He sincerely apologizes for interfering in her life. Yoo-jung opens up. Yena isn't as mean as she seems. She's just dealing with a difficult life, something most people don't understand. Just as Hae-seong enjoys his win, he gets called away by his NIS team. He quickly sends a message to Sua, apologizing and saying he has to leave early. At their hideout, the team delivers a disturbing update. The detective investigating Kim Hyun-ho's death likely covers it up as a suicide. The proof? His seriously ill daughter is suddenly moved to a luxury hospital owned by none other than the Byungmun Foundation. The implication is clear. He is bribed or pressured into silence. As the team shifts focus to the third ghost story, Mi-jung reveals that they need to play a duet on a piano located in Myungju's office to get the next clue. Just then, Sua enters the cafe and volunteers to help. She says the piece isn't hard. She can teach Hae-seong. Though Hae-seong is clearly not thrilled, Seok-ho officially recruits her as a secret field agent. Sua agrees, but in return, she wants Seok-ho's help landing a full-time teaching job. Outside, Hae-seong pulls her aside, annoyed. He warns her not to interfere again, and demands to know why she's so determined to become a permanent teacher. Sua opens up that she made a promise to one of her old students and wants to keep it. Her sincerity softens Hae-seong, and he finally agrees to let her help. Back at school, Hae-seong and Sua cook up a plan to access Myungju's office. They need Principal Park's fingerprint to unlock the door. Sua cleverly gets it by checking out a book that the principal is about to borrow. Hae-seong lifts the fingerprint off the book for later use. That evening, Sua begins teaching Hae-seong the piano duet. He tries to concentrate but keeps getting distracted, mostly by her, not the notes. Their dynamic shifts when he later shows her a few self-defense techniques, bringing them closer, both literally and emotionally. Later, Seok-ho brings Soo-ah to the NIS HQ and welcomes her as an honorary agent. He also tells Hae-seong that their sandwich shop HQ is compromised and is now shut down. The group now needs to figure out how to sneak into Myungju's office during night for Byungmu nights. They settle on the perfect time, while Myungju is entertaining some parents over tea, giving them a brief window to act. The night of the Byungmu nights event finally arrives. Young-hoon sneaks in dressed as a waiter, prepping for the blackout. Meanwhile, Hae-seong and Soo-ah arrive together, and Hae-seong is visibly stunned by her appearance. His gaze lingers, and we cut to a tender flashback of their childhood. Young Soo-ah had asked him to marry her, but little Hae-seong insisted boys should propose. Soo-ah replied that he should do it when she's wearing a pretty dress, and tonight, she's in that very dress, unknowingly fulfilling a memory. In the present, Hae-seong discreetly hands her an injection that causes temporary unconsciousness, just in case, and gives her a necklace with a hidden camera, assuring her that he will protect her. As Myungju heads to her tea session with the parents, Young-hoon prepares to trigger the blackout. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the school, Yoo-jung finds out Yena has hurt herself again. This time, when Yena lashes out and cruelly calls Yoo-jung a dog and a servant, Yoo-jung doesn't back down. She stands her ground, leading to a slap from Yena, which Yoo-jung promptly returns with one of her own. Back at the tea session, Myungju proudly introduces a rare liquor, personally brewed by Chairman Seo Byung-moon, which she intends to share once Idu City launches. She also hands the guests an exclusive black card, hinting at the power and access they'll soon have. Outside, Young-hoon cuts the power, creating the distraction needed. Hae-seong and Soo-ah rush upstairs, but Principal Park catches on and sends security straight to Myungju's office. Just as they near it, the power comes back on. Thinking fast, Young-hoon impersonates an angry parent in the security room, buying more time. His distraction works, and Mi-jung seals the deal by walking in and kissing Young-hoon, keeping all eyes off the monitors. With the path clear, Hae-seong and Soo-ah finally make it into the office. They start the piano duet, but something is off. One of the keys doesn't work. The song ends, but nothing happens. Their plan seems to fail. Seok-ho orders them to retreat immediately. Before they leave, Hae-seong erases their digital footprint from the system, but as he does, he stumbles on a mysterious file, Undercover High School. Inside, he finds complete details of their operation, including his own file. We're then taken back to Hae-seong's first day at the NIS. Seok-ho asks him what name he wants to be called. A touching flashback shows young Si-hyun, his real name, telling his father he wants to be called Hae-seong, which means comets, because he loves stars. After discovering the undercover high school operation plan on Myungju's computer, Hae-seong and Soo-ah quickly leave the office. Hae-seong heads back with his team, his mind clearly burdened. As they debrief, they discuss the piano again. The silent do key might be a clue, not a flaw. Seok-ho watches Hae-seong carefully, sensing something's off, but Hae-seong brushes it off, refusing to share what he saw on the computer. Soo-ah, meanwhile, stays behind to help clean up the event. During this, she witnesses Han Sung-jae belittle a server over a minor food spill. His father joins in, and both walk off without a word of apology. Afterward, the server quietly hands Soo-ah a black card that Sung-jae must have dropped. Upstairs, Myungju stares at her piano with a sly look, muttering that the third clue is complete, implying that the broken key is always part of the plan. Elsewhere, Young-hoon makes another move on Mi-jung, but this time she turns him down, admitting she's seeing someone. Back at home, Soo-ah deciphers the piano clue. Using only the do notes from the school song, the ones played by the dead girl from the ghost story, she puts together a message. When the one with the bead faces the sun, the gold will shine. She rushes to share the clue with Hae-seong and finds him at the grocery store, but to her frustration, he barely reacts. When she pushes, he finally opens up, revealing the file he saw and how it shakes his trust in everyone at the NIS. Soo-ah comforts him, offering her help. As they walk home together, Hae-seong finally confesses he is Si-hyun, the boy from her past. Soo-ah is stunned. He's the boy who promised to propose. They talk about their past, and she remembers how he suddenly disappears in second grade when his father goes missing. She tries to encourage him with a few hopeful words. The next day at school, Rian warns Soo-ah to check the Black Card's website, suspecting something shady. Soo-ah does, and what she finds is chilling. A preset list of students' grades, planned out in advance for the coming semesters. Everything is rigged. In class, Yena recalls seeing Seungjae's father give him the black card. She later finds Seungjae searching for it in the student council room and directly confronts him, questioning why his father seems to know he'd win an essay contest before it even happens. Coldly, Seungjae tells her about the card and drops a bombshell. She only ranks first all this time because of Myungju's favoritism. Meanwhile, Sua, horrified by the card's contents, tries to shut the website down quietly, but someone reports her to Myungju. Myungju corners her as she rushes out of the staff room, delivering a subtle yet chilling warning about following the rules. Frightened, Sua turns to Hae-seong, showing him the card, but he's distracted, saying he has too much going on. Later, he runs into Yoo-jung at the library, studying late. She sweetly tells him her dream is to be an NIS agent like him. This tugs at his conscience, nudging him back towards Sua's case. That night, Sua continues researching, but now the URL doesn't work. We soon learn why. Myungju meets with Seungjae and his father at a restaurant and tells them she has deleted the site. Seungjae casually mentions that Yena knows too, stunning Myungju. He calls Yena obnoxious, but his father scolds him. Unknown to them, Hae-seong listens in via a hidden bug. Suddenly, Myungju says she'll teach Sua a lesson, which prompts Hae-seong to rush off to the school. Back at school, he finds Sua investigating the grade-fixing scandal. She tells him about a former student who was framed for cheating and how, being a temp teacher, she couldn't do anything then. But this time, she's determined. Hae-seong, moved by her resolve, says Myungju knows and offers his help. They haul all of Sua's documents to Hae-seong's place and start mapping out the conspiracy. They discover that several parents work with Myungju, all linked to the Edu City project. Hae-seong suspects the NIS agent involved must be benefiting from this project too. He reports all this to Mi-jung and Young-hoon at NIS HQ, but Seok-ho interrupts, telling Hae-seong to focus solely on finding the gold bars, not school politics. Their argument is cut short when Director Kim calls them in. Hae-seong briefs him, and Kim vaguely says he'll think it over. Shortly after, Myungju receives a mysterious call warning her that Hae-seong is onto something. Back at school, Hae-seong receives a message. His mission is aborted. He shows it to Sua and says the only way to stay close to the case is to bait Myungju. He plans to pretend he knows the location of the gold bars. Conveniently, Myungju is having lunch at school that day. Hae-seong joins her in the cafeteria, casually asking if the gym has ever been renovated. Myungju denies it, but quickly catches on, asking if he's referring to the fourth ghost story. Hae-seong wraps up lunch and exits swiftly, leaving her suspicious. That night, Myungju returns home to find Yena waiting for her. In a tense conversation, Myungju openly admits to rigging the grades, showing no remorse. She even throws in an insult about Yoo-jung, prompting Yena to stand up for her friend, firmly telling her mother not to speak that way. We then flash back to the beginning of Yena and Yoo-jung's friendship, a chance meeting on a bus ride, where Yena is struck by the fact that Yoo-jung comes second in class without any private tutoring. Inspired, Yena grows close to her. Back in the present, Yena visits Yoo-jung's house. Yoo-jung's mother warmly serves them dinner. Later, Yena quietly thanks Yoo-jung for always staying true and then heads home, more resolute than ever. Meanwhile, Sua's digging leads her to suspect a colleague, Lee Jun-ho, might be tied to the grade manipulation scheme. She packs up her findings and heads over to Hae-seong's house, but something's off. The main gate is unlocked. As she steps inside, she's startled by a mysterious figure in black. Moments later, Hae-seong returns home to a chilling sight: Sua, unconscious on the floor. A flashback shows Sua in a heartfelt conversation with Minji, a student from her previous school. Minji, full of admiration, makes Sua promise she'll become a full-time teacher someday, believing in her more than Sua believes in herself. In a flashback, Sua walks into Hae-seong's house and comes face to face with a masked intruder, rummaging through his things. The man turns around, wielding a knife. In the struggle, Sua is stabbed, and the intruder bolts. Moments later, Hae-seong arrives and rushes her to the hospital. Although she is treated, Sua remains unconscious. Hae-seong's NIS team shows up, but there's clear tension between him and Seok-ho. To cover for both of them, Hae-seong calls the school, claiming he's unwell. Ri-an subs in for Sua's class, explaining she's away for personal reasons. But the cover doesn't last long. One of the students, the daughter of the hospital director, blurts out that Hae-seong brings Sua in. When the other students question this, Yoo-jung tries to deflect, saying it's just a coincidence. Later, as she and Yena walk together, Yoo-jung mentions she's preparing hard for the upcoming math competition. This rattles Yena, who now knows the results are being rigged. Back at the hospital, Sua finally wakes up. She tells Haeseong that she suspects Lee Jun-ho. Soon after, Young-hoon calls to confirm that the DNA at Haeseong's house matches Jun-ho's. Haeseong tells him not to inform Seok-ho. He'll handle it himself. Returning home, Haeseong notices his father's notebook is missing and realizes that's what Jun-ho is likely after, and that this somehow links back to Myung-ju. Meanwhile, at school, Jun-ho meets with Myung-ju, demanding that she protect him from arrest and the scandal, as per their deal. Myung-ju flips through the stolen notebook, only to find no mention of the mysterious fourth ghost story. She recalls Haeseong's cryptic cafeteria comment and begins to suspect he knows more than he lets on. She orders Park Jae-moon to dig into the ghost story, determined to get rid of Haeseong. Later, Yena confronts her mother, asking her to make the math competition fair this time. Myung-ju dismisses her request once Yena leaves, showing no intention of changing her ways. Meanwhile, Young-hoon and Mi-jung spot Principal Park driving Lee Jun-ho to a deserted car lot. In a shocking twist, Park knocks Jun-ho unconscious, planning to crush him inside a car to silence him. But when Young-hoon and Mi-jung try to stop him, they're overpowered and tied up too. Just in time, Haeseong arrives, unleashing a flurry of blows. He takes down Park and his men, rescues Young-hoon, Mi-jung, and Jun-ho, and stops the cover-up attempt before it turns deadly. Haeseong brings Jun-ho to visit Sua, who lies in her hospital bed with a steely expression. She demands to know why he gets involved in the grade-rigging scandal. Jun-ho claims it's Myung-ju who pulls him in, but Sua isn't satisfied. She tells him to make things right. Taking him to a safe house, Haeseong tells Jun-ho to stay inside and hands over his phone for safekeeping. He then contacts Seok-ho, laying out his plan. Jun-ho will be kept hidden until 7 a.m., after which he'll be handed over to the police, bringing Myung-ju's scheme crashing down. Haeseong lies about going home. In reality, he watches the safe house all night, silently testing whether Seok-ho will betray him. A flashback shows Seok-ho finding young Si-hyun on the street. The boy, feeling abandoned, claims he's an orphan. Seok-ho gently reassures him, offering to be his father until his real one comes back. Back in the present, no one comes for Jun-ho, and a relieved Haeseong calls Seok-ho to apologize. Seok-ho replies that he knows everything, and casually asks Haeseong to buy him a meal sometime. At school, Myung-ju walks into her office, only to find Haeseong waiting for her. He confronts her, asking why she chose him for the operation, but she remains silent. Without missing a beat, Haeseong plays a news report showing Jun-ho being escorted by police. He reveals that Jun-ho hands over a flash drive, one that proves Myung-ju masterminds the scandal. Right on cue, the police arrive, and soon, the news breaks publicly. Park Jae-moon is arrested too, bringing the whole corrupted system to light. On the school rooftop, Haeseong meets with Sua. He tells her that thanks to her determination and courage, the school has changed. Meanwhile, at the police station, Myung-ju receives a visit from Director Kim, who coldly reminds her that her Edu City dream is collapsing, and he has no reason to protect her anymore. In response, she laughs manically, asking, "What can a madwoman do when she's lost everything?" Haeseong and Seok-ho share a quiet meal, finally free from suspicion, or so Seok-ho thinks. Haeseong eventually confesses that he suspects Seok-ho of working with Myung-ju. Seok-ho is stunned, clearly unaware. Now, though, Haeseong says his suspicions have shifted to Director Kim. Seok-ho opens up. The day Haeseong's father disappears, he actually calls Seok-ho, saying he has something important to say about Director Kim. But Seok-ho hesitates and arrives late by then. Haeseong's father is gone, never to be found. He admits he keeps this from Haeseong, fearing resentment, but Haeseong assures him their bond is stronger than that. Back at school, Haeseong asks Dongmin about the final ghost story. Dongmin says he doesn't know the story, only that anyone who learns it vanishes without a trace. In the staff room, Vice Principal Bayek announces that the Department of Education is sending a vice commissioner to the school. He appoints Sua to guide them. Meanwhile, whispers about Yena's involvement in the scandal spread among students. Overwhelmed with guilt, she starts scratching at old scars. Sua gently intervenes, comforting her and saying none of it is her fault. Yoo-jung thanks Haeseong for everything he's done to transform the school. As they talk, Haeseong notices a poster on the bulletin board. Something about it sparks a realization. The bead mentioned in a past clue could be referring to Seo Byung-moon himself. Later, Sua tells her class she'll make sure a scandal like this never happens again. The students, seeing her dedication as she prepares to host the vice commissioner and clean the school alone, band together. In a heartwarming moment, the entire class helps her clean, restoring a sense of unity. The next day, the officials arrive. But shock ripples through the halls. Seo Myung-ju is among them, having somehow returned in an official capacity. Word spreads fast, and Hae-seong races to the lobby. She confronts him, ripping off his name tag, and tells him to stop playing school games. Seo Myung-ju returns to the school in full force, accompanied by none other than Principal Park. Their dramatic entrance stuns the staff, and as Hae-seong arrives in the foyer, Principal Park orders all teachers back inside. Myung-ju, smug and commanding, reveals she knows about the bead and the rising sun clue, and orders Hae-seong to leave the school. The chairwoman officially expels Hae-seong, forcing him to pack up his belongings. He bids farewell to his friends with quiet determination. Reuniting with his team, they speculate that Director Kim must have pulled strings to free Myung-ju. Just as they prepare to continue their investigation, the NIS internal investigators raid the office. They conveniently discover a stash of illegal cash and arrest Seok-ho, clearly a setup. Later, Myung-ju calls Hae-seong, mocking him and asking if he likes her parting gift. She threatens him to stop digging deeper, mentioning Sua by name as a warning. That evening, Sua finds Hae-seong drinking alone at a tent bar. Despite the threat, she encourages him to keep fighting and hands him a student council book, which contains a photo of Hae-seong's father. That night, Seok-ho calls Hae-seong from custody. Their team is officially dismantled. But Hae-seong refuses to give up and asks the others to continue the mission. They agree without hesitation. Elsewhere, Myung-ju meets with Director Kim, who frees her, expecting gratitude. Instead, she reminds him who made him director in the first place, her, so she is not beholden to anyone. Back at school, things get worse. Meals are now distributed based on grades. Dongmin and other lower-performing students are forced to eat last. Meanwhile, Yoo-jung updates Hae-seong about what's happening inside the school, but Yena overhears their conversation and grows more uneasy. Hae-seong's team regroups at his home. He shares the student council book and points out a fourth ghost story about a computer that lights up by itself, featuring messages from a deceased teacher. But since computers weren't widely used during Seo Byung-moon's time, Hae-seong concludes the story is fabricated by his father to mislead Myung-ju. There are only ever 3 ghost stories. Focusing on the real clue, when the one with the bead faces the red sun, the gold will shine. They determine the bead refers to Seo Byung-moon, and the red sun might be Japan, which is symbolically linked to that imagery. They zero in on the bust of Seo Byung-moon at the school as the possible key. Disguised as a delivery man, Hae-seong sneaks back onto campus. Sua spots him and follows him to the bust. They discover that the bust can rotate. Clearly, a mechanism is involved. But just as they're about to investigate further, Vice Principal Bayek arrives. Sua swiftly distracts him, giving Hae-seong time to escape unnoticed. Unfortunately, Vice Principal Bayek complains to Myung-ju about Sua's delivery run-ins, unwittingly exposing that Hae-seong has been back on campus. Myung-ju instantly connects the dots and instructs Principal Park to deliver her second gift to Hae-seong, a threat clearly looming. Meanwhile, Yena visits her mother and confronts her about the truth. She knows Hae-seong isn't a real student. Myung-ju coldly dismisses it as none of her business and suggests they go on a walk to reconnect. But as she leaves the room, Yena spots something suspicious on her mother's tablet. The following morning, chaos erupts at school. Photos of Sua and Hae-seong together circulate to every student, hinting at an inappropriate relationship between a teacher and a student. Sua tries to carry on as usual, entering her classroom, but is quickly interrupted by Principal Park, who coldly orders her to report to Myung-ju. Just then, Hae-seong storms into the classroom, grabs Park's wrist, and peels it off Sua's arm. In front of the shocked class, he drops the bombshell. He isn't a teenager. He's 31 years old. Word spreads quickly, and curious students from other classes gather around. Hae-seong takes this moment to reclaim the narrative, explaining that he returns to school because he never earned his diploma. In front of everyone, he confesses that he likes Sua, drawing gasps and then cheers from the crowd. Myung-ju arrives too late to stop the momentum. She watches as the students rally behind Hae-seong and Sua, completely upending her plan to disgrace them. Hae-seong turns to Myung-ju and, with fire in his eyes, tells her to watch her back. Fuming, Myung-ju immediately suspects Yena leaked the information that allows Hae-seong to act so fast. Later, Hae-seong thanks Yena for her help. She asks if he comes to school just because of her mother. He promises to explain one day, leaving her to wonder. When Yena returns home, her mother coldly announces she is being sent abroad to study, a clear punishment. Meanwhile, Hae-seong and his team gather to strategize. They now have a narrow window to act. They must find the gold bars that very night, before Myungju can beat them to it. Hae-seong admits they'll need more people to pull this off. That's when Sua's mother steps in, offering a clever solution to help them expand their team. In a twist no one sees coming, Sua's mild-mannered mother reveals she was once a fierce member of the infamous Bloody Chicken Gang, leaving Hae-seong's team, and Sua herself, completely stunned. With calm authority, she calls on her old gangmates, and soon, a squad of spirited middle-aged men shows up, fully geared to support the mission. Before the chaos begins, Sua takes a quiet moment with Hae-seong, suggesting that once all this is over, they should finally go out for a meal together. It's a tender moment that gives Hae-seong the strength he needs for what's to come. Meanwhile, across town, Myungju puts the puzzle pieces together and realizes the bust of Seo Byung-mun must be the key. She hurries to the school, only to be blocked at the entrance by Sua's mother and the Bloody Chicken Gang, who have constructed an outrageous makeshift barricade. There, Hae-seong steps forward, confidently introducing himself as an NIS agent. He claims they are investigating a North Korean spy hidden within the school, a strategic move that stops Myungju in her tracks. She quickly tries to contact Director Kim, but Mi-jung, loyal to Hae-seong's cause, keeps his phone out of reach, neutralizing Myungju's reinforcements. As Myungju retreats to call for more help, Hae-seong moves, slipping inside the school and heading to the bust. He turns it, and just as he suspects, the plinth shifts, revealing a hidden trapdoor. Descending into the darkness, Hae-seong discovers a vast, dusty room beneath the school. But instead of treasure, the only thing waiting for him is a skeleton slumped in the corner. On its wrist, a familiar watch confirms what Hae-seong fears. He has found the body of his father. After discovering the skeleton, Hae-seong quietly informs Seok-ho that there are no gold bars in the hidden room. Just as they process the disappointment, Seo Myungju arrives with her men, demanding access. Seok-ho is forced to comply. Once inside, Myungju frantically searches every corner, only to realize there's no treasure, just a haunting secret from the past. Her calm mask slips, and she screams in rage and disbelief. Back home, Hae-seong silently unpacks the suit and watch found on the skeleton, his father's belongings. Among the remains, he also finds a bullet, which he shows to Seok-ho during Jung Jae-hyun's emotional funeral. Hae-seong's school friends all show up to pay their respects. It's a somber, bittersweet moment, bringing closure to the man who sacrifices everything. Seok-ho analyzes the bullet and confirms it belongs to a Glock 17, a standard NIS-issued firearm. He recalls that years ago, Director Kim reported a missing bullet, hinting that Kim might have something to do with Jae-hyun's death. Meanwhile, Myungju fumes over the revelation that the underground room isn't a vault, but a former conference room. Principal Park shares this after the NIS clears the area, deepening Myungju's frustration and sense of defeat. Just when things seem like they can't get worse, Hae-seong receives a termination notice via text. He is officially fired from the NIS. He returns home in silence, retrieves a hidden gun, and heads out. On the way, he runs into Sua, who excitedly tells him that everyone is waiting for him at a restaurant. But Hae-seong, grim and distant, thanks her gently and tells her to start without him. There's something he needs to finish. Sua, unnerved by his words, alerts the team. Seok-ho immediately realizes Hae-seong is going after Director Kim, who is currently attending a conference at a luxury hotel. Hae-seong arrives at the hotel, finds Kim's room, and storms in with his gun drawn. He demands the truth. A violent struggle breaks out. Kim manages to call the front desk mid-fight, triggering a rapid response. His secretary notices the emergency and calls security as chaos unfolds inside the hotel room. Just as Director Kim is about to speak, his secretary and security team storm into the room. Hae-seong is overpowered and arrested on the spot, with Seok-ho and the rest arriving moments too late. Thinking fast, they devise a daring plan. The NIS agents create a distraction, drawing the secretary and guards away, while Sua uses a fire extinguisher to create chaos and rescue Hae-seong amidst the confusion. Their teamwork pays off, and Hae-seong escapes. Meanwhile, Seo Myungju tightens her grip on the school, slashing scholarships and increasing tuition by 50% in a desperate attempt to fund her mission. Principal Park expresses concern, but Myungju is laser-focused on one thing: finding the missing gold. Back at home, Hae-seong clarifies to his stunned team that he never intends to shoot Kim. The gun is just for show. In reality, he uses the chaos to hack Kim's phone, giving them a direct line to monitor him. The news of the tuition hike spreads quickly through the school. Suwa confronts Myungju, furious that 150 students will be forced to leave. Myungju coldly mocks her. Suwa, unshaken, responds that Myungju must be very lonely and walks out. Later, Director Kim visits Myungju at her home, unaware that Hae-seong is listening in via the hacked phone. With pressure mounting, Kim suggests getting rid of Hae-seong, but Myungju hesitates. She still believes he knows where the gold is. In their heated exchange, Kim accuses her of killing Jae-hyun, revealing buried secrets. A flashback reveals the truth. After leaving his son, Jae-hyun is intercepted by Kim and taken to the school. Myungju interrogates him, demanding the gold. Jae-hyun insists the vault is empty. As he escapes, Myungju grabs Kim's gun and shoots him. Bleeding out, Jae-hyun hides in the vault and, realizing the end is near, says a final heartbreaking apology to his son. In the present, Myungju refuses to help Kim. He threatens to expose her and storms out. Hae-seong immediately calls Kim, revealing he hears everything. He proposes an alliance to bring Myungju down. Kim agrees to meet in person. When Hae-seong arrives, he finds Kim bleeding out, and then someone knocks him unconscious. By morning, Hae-seong wakes up in a car with Kim's corpse beside him, a knife in his own hand. The police arrive and arrest him. Back at Hae-seong's home, Seok-ho and the team find the incriminating recording of Kim accusing Myungju, but the police raid the house soon after. Mi-jung tries to make a copy, but is caught. The lead detective, secretly aligned with Myungju, sends the recording to her, and she destroys it. Later, Myungju visits Hae-seong in jail and coldly asks where her gold is. When he doesn't answer, she gives him one day to talk. During his transfer, Hae-seong fights the guards, causing the vehicle to crash off the road. Though badly injured, he escapes. He manages to call Suwa from a payphone, but collapses before revealing his location. Suwa finds Hae-seong, brings him to a hotel, and tends to his injuries. The next morning, Hae-seong reveals the truth. Seo Myungju killed his father, Jae-hyun. Meanwhile, the school board moves to dismiss Myungju. Hae-seong learns there's a warrant out for him, and Mi-jung reveals she secretly keeps a backup of the voice recording where Myungju admits to murder. However, it's hidden at Hae-seong's house. Before they can retrieve it, the hotel manager recognizes Hae-seong and alerts the police, forcing him and Suwa to escape through a window. Hae-seong tells Suwa to protect the students while he evades capture. Suwa takes a protest poster she made and returns to school. At the Byungmun Foundation board meeting, Myungju tries to block her dismissal, citing the requirement of approval from 3/4 of students and staff. Meanwhile, Seok-ho, Mi-jung, and Young-hun are imprisoned. Still injured, Hae-seong gets help from Gong Jin-sang, a junior NIS agent, to sneak into his house and retrieve the flash drive. A flashback shows how he convinces Gong that Myungju is the mastermind. Back at school, Suwa boldly confronts Myungju, who offers to reverse her changes if Suwa quits. Suwa accepts, but Myungju still plans to go forward with her agenda, unaware that Yoo-jung overhears everything. Hae-seong turns himself in and hands the recording to the police, which exposes both Jae-hyun's and Director Kim's murders, the latter carried out by Principal Park on Myungju's orders. He urges the lead detective to play it smart and not tip Myungju off. Trying to win favor, Myungju organizes a school assembly and vows to scrap the controversial policies, but Yoo-jung reveals that Myungju forces Suwa to quit. Outraged, the students rally behind Suwa and demand Myungju's resignation. Overcome by their support, Suwa is visibly moved. As arrest warrants are issued for Seo Myungju and Principal Park, Hae-seong and his team rush to the school. But Principal Park gets wind of the news and alerts Myungju, who orders him to flee with Yena. Realizing her world is collapsing, Myungju makes a chilling call to Hae-seong, hinting at death. Inside the school, Myungju triggers the sprinklers, but only gasoline pours out. With a lit lighter in hand, she threatens to set the entire place ablaze. Hae-seong storms in, despite his concussion worsening, but is forced to disarm when Myungju threatens the students. Meanwhile, Yoo-jung tips off Yena, who convinces Principal Park to turn back. Yena confronts her mother, pleading for her to stop. As Myungju prepares to end her life, Suwa jumps in just in time. The lighter falls, but Hae-seong catches it, saving everyone. Seok-ho and the others arrive and arrest both Myungju and Principal Park. Hae-seong collapses and wakes up in the hospital, diagnosed with a concussion. But he learns troubling news. Principal Park is taking full blame, shielding Myungju from consequences. Determined to make things right, Hae-seong meets Park and reminds him that while the Myungju family takes him in as a child, he should now consider what's truly best for both Myungju and Yena. At the trial, Park confesses to all their crimes, and Myung-ju is sentenced to life in prison. Time passes. Yana visits her mother in prison. She reveals she's dropped out of school, wanting to live by her own merit now. Though still processing everything, she promises to visit again someday. At school, Hae-seong pays the students one last visit. Their reaction is cold, but he smiles through it, saying he enjoys his time with them. As he walks away, a single paper plane lands at his feet with the message, "Thank you for being my friend." Moments later, dozens more soar from the windows, a quiet but heartfelt goodbye from the students he once protected. Later, Hae-seong shares a quiet meal with Soo-ah. She shows him a student council newsletter Jae-hyun once worked on, the title a synonym for comet. She believes it is Jae-hyun's way of reaching out to him even after death. Back home, Hae-seong clears the attic. A flashback shows young Jae-hyun placing glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling in the shape of the Big Dipper. When Si-hyun asks where the North Star is, Jae-hyun says he hides it. Now, in the present, Hae-seong finds the sticker for the North Star lying on the floor of a cupboard, Jae-hyun's final message, finally seen. Under the floorboards of his old home, Hae-seong finally finds the gold bars his father had hidden years ago, evidence of a mission long buried. With quiet finality, he calls Seok-ho and tells him the words that linger over every action since the beginning. Mission complete. 5 years later, everything is different. A young girl steps into Soo-ah's car, revealing herself to be one of her former students, the same one who once made Soo-ah promise to become a full-time teacher. Soo-ah proudly shows her teaching certificate, a symbol of dreams fulfilled and promises kept. As they drive, Soo-ah reads a web novel titled Undercover High School, written by Lee Dong-min, who clearly transforms his once chaotic school life into storytelling gold. Elsewhere, the people who once fought alongside Hae-seong each find their own version of peace. Yoo-jung prepares to join the National Intelligence Service, determined to make a difference from the inside. Yena finally chooses her own path, spending her time painting and embracing the freedom she has long denied. Seok-ho, ever dependable, receives a promotion. Mi-jung and Young-hun, once constantly bickering partners, are not only a couple now, but also expecting their first child. The entire group gathers at Soo-ah's mother's diner. The tension that once lived in their conversations is replaced with warmth, jokes, and the kind of connection built only through shared hardship. As Hae-seong looks around the table, he quietly reflects that the true treasure is never the gold bars or evidence, it's these people and the time they carve out together. Later that night, Hae-seong and Soo-ah lie beneath a blanket of stars. He slips a ring onto her finger, and they kiss under the sky that once held hidden messages from the past. In that moment, the story that begins with secrecy ends in sincerity. Hae-seong walks into a classroom, calm and composed. He introduces himself as the new class teacher. Whether it's a peaceful chapter ahead or another covert mission disguised in chalk and roll call, one thing is certain: the fight is over, but the legacy continues. If you enjoyed this recap, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and see you next time.